What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott from ElliotScottDating.com, and today we're going to go over a controversial subject, as you see by the title, how to get a boyfriend if you're overweight. Now, before you get on me about this, I was asked by several people to do this. That's why I'm doing it, and I put a disclaimer below so you know where I actually stand on the subject. So before you hate on this, judge me, or any of that, please read the disclaimer below. I am actually making this video because I wanted to give you a raw, honest, brutal, not so brutal opinion. Actually, I would say more factual, and I want to actually touch on the subject because all the other things I've seen out there were actually very insulting, I think, to people who are overweight or people who are actually looking for the answers. They weren't diving in it deep enough. They were teasing it. They were treating it like it was a joke when it's not, because some people are actually wanting to know this. Just like some men are wanting to know if size matters, women are wanting to know how to attract men under certain conditions. So that's why I wanted to do this. So I'm going to be honest. No sugarcoating. I'm going to tell you exactly what you want to hear and probably what you don't want to hear. But hey, I want you to come to this video for the answer. So with that being said, we'll start off with the most important thing, and that's that looks do matter. I don't care what anyone tells you. I don't care what any dating coach tells you, right? I don't care what any man, woman, it doesn't matter. Looks matter. It's way beyond your control, okay? It's way beyond a man's control. It's way beyond your control. Looks matter. Now, with that being said, I think you and media and a lot of people have a disfigured judgment on what you should look like. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're more realistic about it. But I'll say media, society as a general. They think that men have to have like super six packs, buff and big dicks, and women have to have these model bodies, or what I call swimsuit ready, all year round, and that's just not realistic, and that's actually not true, right? Women don't understand that. You might know that men like certain things like boobs, for example, but you might not know why. And that's what's more important, and that kind of gets into the deeper subject of attraction, which is not a choice, by the way, and what men are actually looking for. So let's touch on that first. So the weight doesn't matter. What matters is is three things. And again, looks matter, but if you're, size is kind of irrelevant if you have these three things. The more the merrier, right? And that's ratio, proportions, right? You have to have a ratio, the golden ratio they call it. You can look that up. You have to have proportion. It would be better if your weight was proportioned throughout your body. And third is childbearing cues. There's a reason why men like boobs, why men like hips, and so forth. And the reason for that is it shows that you actually have better childbearing cues. You're more successful from an evolutionary aspect to have a child, raise it correctly, or not raise it correctly, but a healthy child, and have more offspring. Survival replication is the job of every organism. So subconsciously, that's what men are looking for. Like, that's the reason why men like certain things. So you need to think of it more like that instead of how can I get thin. The other thing is men like healthy looking women, and thin doesn't necessarily mean healthy. I think women think they have to look like this supermodel figure with this bikini body all year round. If they don't have big boobs, they're out. If they're overweight, they're out, when that's not the case. In fact, I actually did an article on this exactly for this video. It's over at my website. The link's below, ElliotScottDating.com. And I actually talk about, and I have pictures of a woman named Ashley Graham. If you don't know her, she's the cover model for Sports Illustrated plus size. And if you look anything like that, you're not fat, okay? If you look anything like that, even close to her, you're not fat. That's actually what men like on a woman. There was actually a study that showed that the difference between what a man wants a woman to look like and what a woman thinks she should look like is 40 pounds, right? So someone like Ashley Graham, who I find her attractive. I would say she's an 8 at least, an 8.5. I find her attractive, and that, by the way, the average person's a 4 from another study. I can link all these below if you want. Let me know. But Ashley Graham is not what maybe society considers that, because society's just harsh and brutal, but she's actually very healthy looking. She's proportioned. She is thicker, but men like thick women. I don't care what anyone says. I talk to many men, and I am a man. I know what men like. Men like thick women, thicker women. So if you look anything like her and you're calling yourself fat, that's not fat. But I can understand where you're coming from, because society kind of pushes you down. You know, society's telling women to thin up and men to bulk up. So I know where you're standing, or I know where you stand for that. The second thing is that it's not so much that men are like anti-fat women or anti, people who are overweight. It's the whole, what I call the liability versus asset complex, kind of thing. And I always talk about this. I think I talk about this in an article I wrote before, maybe another video. And it's when you're coming off to a man looks, just like a woman looks for red flags, a man looks for this, basically the same thing. He looks for assets versus liabilities. He looks for what can she gain, or what can I gain from her, or what can I get from her, and what can she take away. I don't mean that like, like physically give or take, but I mean, like, usually when someone has a lack of self-esteem or a lack of confidence, for example, there's liabilities that come along with that. They might be needy. They might be trying to tie the man down. They try to, which is, take away the man's freedom. They try to, get in a relationship too fast. They try to text nonstop. They're always seeking validation, and stuff like this is, things like these are like huge red flags to a guy, and it flips the guy out. He's like, I can't do that. So and the brain's really good with association, right? It has to be. That helps fill in the gaps, and it helps the brain do less work. So, usually when, someone who's overweight and they show simple signs like that, I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying all, people who are overweight have like these, self-esteem issues, but, from a stereotypical point of view, people who might be overweight might have lower self-esteem, lower confidence than the average person. And sometimes they might have some of these issues. And as soon as a man sees this, he pulls away immediately. So it might not be so much that you're overweight, or that, or something with your body, as it is the liabilities you're showing him. That, once you're together and after a first date, you're trying to tie him down, you're texting him nonstop and stuff like that. Guys do not like that. Guys do not want that. Instead, try to show him the assets. Show him what you can offer. Show him what you can give to him. Show him that you're fun. Show him that you're an escape from reality, right? A guy always wants to go home to a woman who's nice, fun, loving, and just chill. Me and my friends talk about this all the time. And every time we talk about a woman, we always say, like, what we want out of a woman. Everyone usually says something along the lines of, I just want a cool chick. I want an awesome chick. Yeah, guys like, good-looking women, and, symmetrical faces and all that kind of stuff. But men love women who are just awesome, which I'm going to get onto a little bit. But show that you're an asset and not a liability, because usually when you come, usually when you have, like, again, insecurities, you tend to have more liability. So work on yourself. The third thing is your personality actually does matter. Yes, looks matter. I'm not denying that at all. Looks are very important. Looks will always be in like a top 2 or top 3. But I think personality matters a lot more than what people think. Women, you always hear women say, to them, personality matters a lot more than looks, while both are important. And to men, looks matter a lot more than personality. But what people don't understand is that my friends and I talk about this all the time, and we say that something like personality can bring a woman from a 6 to like an 8, and it really can. Because again, a man's always looking for an escape. He's trying, it's the law of association. If you're just an awesome girl, he's gonna be like, who cares? Who cares about this? Who cares about that? Oh, work. I had a bad day at work. Who cares? I get to go home to this awesome chick. And that's really how men think. They really do. I like to think of it as the whole, I don't know if you've ever seen the hashtag relationship goals, that kind of stuff. Like, men just want an awesome woman, because a lot of women don't let men be awesome. They might tie them down too early. They might, not let him play his video games. They might judge him. They might strip him from his masculinity. All these kind of things. You know, a lot of couples now only focus on fighting or a lot of sex, and that's why a lot of people break up, because they're always bitching or they're always banging. You know, there's no chemistry anymore. So if you can show that to a man, that would be awesome. That would be amazing, because personality does matter. It really will bring you 2 points up on, you know, the hotness scale. And the final thing I would say is to, like, as I said before, work on yourself. If you're one of those people who really think that you're going to get a guy by you know, if you're saying, oh, if I just have a guy, I'll be happy. That's not going to happen. Believe me. You know, there's so many insecurities and problems with that statement that I would avoid you at all costs if you're one of those people. I actually had a friend who was like that. I think I talked about her in another video. Here's a great example, actually. She had an amazing body. I worked with this girl. Amazing body. Probably one of the best bodies I have ever seen in my life. She was just gifted. You know, God had a great day when he was making her, right? Amazing body. But she had I don't know where this lack of I never wanted to really dig into it with her. But she had such a lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem. You know, she would tell me, and she would always say that, you know, or when she would get in a relationship and it wouldn't work out, she would have to immediately get into another one. And I would ask her why, and she would always tell me that, you know, when she was in a relationship, she just felt loved and she felt wanted, and she didn't feel that outside of a relationship. And that's a big problem, because the reason her relationships would never last is because guys saw all those liabilities, but she was so hot that they would just use her for her body and then get rid of her, right? Because no guy wants to get tied down to a girl with all those liabilities. And it was really sad, because she was an awesome girl, and she had a really nice body, and she was just fun, and she was just entertaining. She was awesome, but she had all those liabilities. So if you're one of those people who think, I'm going to work on, you know, or I'm going to get a guy and then I'll be happy, that's not going to happen. Or if you think you're one of those, if you're one of those people who are like, I'm going to lose X, Y, Z amount of weight and then I'm going to get the guy. That's, you know, or not then I'm going to get, but that, you know, then I'll be happy. That might not be the case either. You might be happier because you know, you went through that transition, that journey, that challenge of losing weight and becoming a new person, a better self. And I think actually that would help, but at the same time, you never know. You still might have those insecurities. Because I remember when I focused on, I got out of a bad breakup, and I focused on, you know, bulking up and stuff like that. And, you know, and I know I'm not strong. I'm scrawny Ronnie now. I weigh 165 right now, 170. But I got up to about 185, 190 of muscle, and I was looking damn good. But I was still having some insecurities because I started doing it. Sorry. I started working out and taking care of my body. Well, I won't say taking care of my body, but I picked up some bad habits. But I started focusing on bulking up after a bad breakup, right? So I was using that bad breakup to fuel my my weight gain, and then use that weight gain to try to fill the void of that bad breakup. And it didn't work out because you still have those insecurities. And if you're, you know, so maybe you should work on yourself, work on eliminating those liabilities, work on building that confidence. If you need to get professional help, get professional help. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually think professional help's a great thing. People look at it as taboo or wrong, but if you can do anything, if it's watching these videos, if it's reading a self-help book, if it's actually going to a psychiatrist or whatever, or a life coach, and bettering yourself, if you can do anything that takes you on a path to become the best version you can possibly be, then do it, okay? So wrapping all this up, it's not so much your weight, it's proportion, ratio, and how healthy you look. Personality does matter. Focus on your assets, not your liabilities. Again, you got to build that confidence, because when you come off to a guy, a lot of the times, you know, a girl with low self-esteem has these liabilities that she's not aware of. Be aware of those liabilities and transfer to your assets. Let him see these. Sorry, why am I burp? I think I'm drinking this. Work on those assets. Finally, work on yourself, because if you think you're going to just be happy when you get a guy and all that's going to go away, you're sadly mistaken. I've seen it firsthand, and I have been through it firsthand. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Please like this video, share it, comment. Do whatever you gotta do. Let other people know. Tell me if there's anything you want me to talk about, to expand on in the comments. I love you guys. Peace.